You ever wake up from a nightmare and realize it actually happened while you were wide awake? That's how it feels sitting here on my own porch, breathing in the air I almost lost. Yeah, that's right, almost lost because of one power-hungry HOA president named Karen. If you're listening, buckle up because this isn't just some HOA drama. This is about what happens when the wrong person thinks they own more than just a clipboard and a bad attitude, and what it costs to fight for the only place you ever really called home. Let me back up a sec, set the scene for you. Before I shipped out for deployment, full gear, boots laced, mind racing, I did one last lap through every inch of my house. I memorized the creaky spot in the hallway where my nephew used to drop his toy trucks, the way the sunlight would sneak across the front steps each morning, even the scent of old cedar in the shed where my grandfather's hands built more than a few memories. It wasn't some fancy palace, no magazine spread, but every splinter and nail had my name on it. I earned it, sweat and all. I thought I knew what heavy felt like. Turns out, leaving the house behind, not knowing who'd be watching over it, weighed more than all the gear strapped to my back. Now, Karen, she's a character, let me tell you. The self-appointed queen of the HOA, always with a new complaint about how my truck looked too military, my flagpole was ruining the lines, and don't even get me started on the time she said my camo paint was aggressive. Yeah, aggressive. I guess the only thing more offensive than a Marine's taste is a neighbor with too much time and not enough soul. Most days I ignored her. Figured some folks need authority like oxygen. She was the type to hyperventilate if nobody was listening. Still, before I left, I did everything by the book. Filed my deployment papers with the HOA, with the county, the whole shebang. No way anyone could say I abandoned anything. The morning I shipped out, she stood across the street, pretending to water roses that were as plastic as her smile, watching me load my duffel bag, never saying a word, not even goodbye. She just gave me this little smirk, like she'd already won something. But I shook it off. Didn't have the time or energy for a bored suburban dictator. My neighbors saw me off, shook my hand, even a mailman gave a crisp salute. Just for a second, I believed everything was going to stay exactly as I left it. Then that plane lifted off, and home became a memory shrinking under the clouds. Now, let me tell you, combat's a whole lot of chaos, but at least you know where the lines are drawn. Back home, not so simple. A few weeks in, every time I managed to get a signal, my phone would blow up. First it was the bank. Unusual activity on your mortgage account. Weird because I had everything set to auto pay. Then came the messages from neighbors. Pictures of warning notices slapped to my front door. Overgrown grass, neglect, even property abandonment. That one really stung. Here I was, ducking mortars, and apparently the worst thing I'd done was let my lawn get a little wild. Yeah, that happened. At first, I brushed it off, just another Karen Power trip, right? But then my bank called again. This time, it was the phrase no deployed Marine ever wants to hear. Foreclosure proceedings may begin due to unpaid HOA fines and unresolved violations. I felt like the ground fell out from under me. I called the bank from halfway around the world, dust still clinging to my boots, trying to explain, hey, I'm on active duty, I did everything right. All I got was, we'll note it on your account, which is corporate for not my problem. So, I'm lying awake on my cot that night, staring at the ceiling, thinking about every photo, every tool, every story packed inside those four walls. I shot off an email to my commanding officer, requesting emergency leave under the Service Members Civil Relief Act. Next morning, he just looks at me and says, go handle your business. Come back when it's done. Took 2 whole weeks for the paperwork to clear. 2 weeks of picturing Karen circling my place like a vulture at an estate sale. The second my boots hit U.S. soil, I didn't even go home. I went straight to the HOA office. Locked up. Some sign about administrative transition, which is HOA speak for duck and cover. On the way to my house, 2 neighbors spotted me, went pale as ghosts. One just whispers, you don't know yet, do you? And suddenly my duffel bag feels a whole lot heavier. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw. My own driveway with someone else's car in it, toys scattered on the grass, new curtains hanging in the windows. My house, but not my home. My heart was pounding like I was back in combat. I walked up, and before I could knock, a woman opens the door, holding a mug, looking like she was expecting the mailman, not a Marine just back from the desert. She jumps a little at the sight of my uniform. "Can I help you?" she asks. I just say, quiet as I can, "This is my house." She shakes her head. "We bought it at the HOA auction 2 months ago. Previous owner abandoned it." Abandoned it? I almost laughed. I was dodging bullets in another country, and someone here was selling off my living room. But I didn't take it out on her. She wasn't the enemy. Just another casualty in a mess someone else created. I turned around, jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth would crack, and marched straight back to the HOA office. This time it was open. Karen was sitting behind her desk, feet propped up, living her plastic throne fantasy. Didn't even flinch when she saw me. If anything, she looked annoyed that I wasn't 6 feet under. "Oh," she says, real casual, "you're back." I just stare at her. "You sold my house." She shrugs, doesn't miss a beat. "You were gone. Grass dying. Mail piling up. No response to notices. Honestly, I thought you'd die in combat. Would have made this all a lot easier." For a second, I was speechless. Not because I didn't have words, but because the ones I had could have started a different kind of war. She slides a stack of papers across the desk. "It's legal. Property transferred. Get a lawyer if you want, but it's done." I leaned in steady as I could. "This isn't over." She just rolls her eyes, all smug. "It is for you. Be grateful someone else is looking after the place." I walked out before I did something that would land me in cuffs. The cold outside felt sharp, almost like the wind itself was telling me to move. That's when the story flips. Karen thought I'd give up, but she didn't know who she was messing with. I didn't throw a fit. I made calls, first a military legal, then a federal attorney who knew the Service Members Civil Relief Act front to back. Turns out, selling a deployed Marine's house without a court order isn't just bad manners. It's a federal crime. Within 2 weeks, everything started unraveling for Karen. Investigators showed up, subpoenas flying like shrapnel, financial records, forged signatures, illegal foreclosure papers. Every little power play she'd made was now evidence. And that family in my house. Turns out they were victims too. Bought in good faith, court made sure they got refunded and had time to relocate. My house, stripped, empty, missing pieces of my old life, but it was mine again, legally returned. And Karen? She got nailed for every cent, every tool, every photograph, every mug and memory that vanished. Price tag by the court. She had to pay, down to the last receipt. Her own legal fees and fines buried her deep. The HOA? State dissolved it under investigation. Here's where the twist comes in. 6 months later, Karen's own precious, rule-perfect palace went into foreclosure. I bought it cash. Didn't announce it, didn't brag. Just walked in, signed the deed, and opened those heavy curtains. It smelled like cheap perfume and expired authority. Poetic, right? People always ask if I feel bad. Honestly, not even a little. I got my home back, brick by brick, memory by memory. I'm rebuilding it. But Karen's old house? I turned it into a quiet place for veterans. No HOA meetings, no drama. Just a front porch, strong coffee, and people who get it. And Karen? She lives across town now, renting a plain apartment. No clipboard, no crown, just silence. She avoids me in the grocery store, head down. She thought I'd disappear forever. She thought she'd never see me again. She was wrong. So, you tell me, was that justice or just a slice of revenge? Would you have fought or just walked away? Drop your story or your 2 cents below. I want to hear it. And hey, if you've got a nightmare neighbor or a wild HOA story, you know where to find me. Hit like, share, and let's hear where you stand on what's right, what's fair, and what you'd do if your own front porch was on the line.